This is climate scientist Wayne Adams. I am nearing the Sequoia to Floyd County line. It is the 10th or 11th? 11th. I think it's the 11th. It may be the 10th. I need to check. But anyway, it is April, I think the 10th. It's the 11th? Okay, April 11th, 2025. We're going to measure an area, if we can find an area in western portions of Sallisaw. For what I'm looking for is basically the evapotranspiration rate is what I'm looking for, to see what's going on the western side of Sallisaw. Not too interested in the eastern side, but I need to see about the western side of Sallisaw. So that's what's going on. We are in northern Floyd County. We are approaching the Curd Locking Dam that separates Floyd County and Sequoia County. We've had a lot of riverfront downdraft activity out here before, some inflow activity along these fields, and sometimes every once in a while you'll see fertilizer dust going up into the storm, but we never really received a tornado out of it. We had a tornado hit back in the 1950s in Gans, Oklahoma, killed a bunch of people, and it was a very violent tornado. It tracked all the way from Wilburton, Oklahoma to Gans, crossed this river without lifting. Absolutely amazing, and just absolute destruction. But we had a tornado warning on the west side of Sallisaw a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago now. And it was a tornado outbreak that took place from northeast Oklahoma into northwest Arkansas. But we didn't really, we didn't have a touchdown on the west side. I was able to gather some information on the west side of Sallisaw that indicated definite indications that it was going to produce a tornado before it did. And the tornado actually did produce as it moved northeast about an hour later into portions of western Washington County, Arkansas, and eastern Adair County in Oklahoma. So we've been pretty fortunate up in here as far as tornadoes. We haven't had any in a while, but Walt Model is hitting on this area. Near Sallisaw, I've had 3 sequence hits. So we had about 3. That's when we decided we're going to come out and look at this, see what's going on. So we did Fort Smith, we did Van Buren yesterday. I'm planning on doing Ozark if the model continues to hit on that area. This morning it hit on Mountainburg, Ozark, Mountainburg and Ozark. It hit on Rogers, Arkansas. Rogers is a big one. The golf course in Rogers has been tornadoes that have hit that area. QLCS, Supercell, both instances, 2 different times. So that's another area I'd like to get up there and work with. But currently we're working with Sequoia County, Sallisaw, Oklahoma. Honestly, I'm expecting to find hail more than tornado feature, but I want to come in here and look at this. And a lot of times I'm right when I say that. But if I can even find anything to measure with. Ran into something in Fort Smith yesterday that was interesting. I'm going to have to go back when there's a thunderstorm to gather data to see what's actually falling from the sky in the rainfall, to see what's soluble in the rainfall, and to see if to get basically a retrospect of what's actually occurring with the evapotranspiration and what kind of elements are coming through the water. We found a pattern where there is definitely an element that's being associated with tornado formation, including in the ground and in the water. We've copyrighted this, and now we're close to filing patent on it. So at least patent pending. I have a capstone in 2 months, and I'll be using this for capstone. We're approaching Wild Horse Mountain, and that'll be just to the south of Sallisaw, Oklahoma. We've had tornadoes that have developed southwest of Wild Horse Mountain in the past, and we've had some storm chasers that come up here on Wild Horse Mountain looking southwest and actually videoed a tornado. But that was years ago. That was like 2015, somewhere in that range. We are basically an ENSO pattern of going into neutral. And so what that means is low pressure centers will start going across the central portion of the United States. that gives us a pretty good chance of severe weather. But what it really does is it sets the dry lines up further west. We're getting into that time frame of the year to where these dry lines will start developing west of Oklahoma City. That puts us more into this neighborhood of nighttime storms, hail and wind, QLCS with the potential of a squall line tornado, quasi-linear convective system. But and less in the neighborhood of supercells. Although we're still having a fight between La Nina and neutral pattern. So going through April, I figure May will be more into that squall line event. But as we end toward the end of April, I think this will be our last best chance of supercellular activity for decent tornadoes in our area. It'll turn more into a QLCS unless we have a strong neutral pattern. If that turns into a strong neutral pattern, then lows might go across portions of southern Kansas. That would open us up more for supercellular activity, because then the dry line would be forced further east and west of McAllister. So there's still some possibilities here, but from what I'm seeing right now in the INSO, it's looking more like we're dealing with western Oklahoma supercells, tornado outbreaks possibly into central Oklahoma in May, and then switching over to squall line event for our area with rain-wrapped QLCS, quasi-linear convective or BOEC of tornadoes toward our location in here. And so that's what's going on for the pattern, the way it's looking right now. We've had La Nina, and that has switched most of the storms to the east of us. We've been pretty fortunate. Lake City, Arkansas was hit with a violent tornado this year. Cars were completely destroyed. So we've just been really fortunate. All of it's been to the east, and that's because the moisture was sheared to the east with La Nina pattern. When La Nina's in effect, the moisture will be sheared off to the east, mostly east of the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, and that gives us a fortunate scenario. However, if it's a strong La Nina, that pushes the dry line a little bit further to the west, and that causes areas like Howe, Heavener, sometimes Spiro to get in, or Fort Smith to get in on this. That's why Fort Smith has not been hit this year, or Sallisaw, because it's been a weak La Nina, and it's not able to back up so much into eastern Oklahoma, and so that's kept us safe, and it's kept eastern Arkansas just in an absolute nightmare scenario of tornadoes. Now it's about to change because we're going into neutral pattern, and I haven't looked to see how strong this neutral pattern is, but if it's strong, that could push more supercells in our area. If it's weak, that'll probably set us up for QLCS squall line event storms. We're entering the city of Sallisaw, Oklahoma now, and this is the airport to the right. We've had some tornadoes hit southwest of the airport before. This is they do a lot of jumping out of airplanes over here with parachutes, things of that nature. They have a company that's in this area that works with the airport, and they do a lot of parachuting around here. But that's the area where I bought my vehicle on the left, the Chevrolet place. No, it was the Jeep place on the left where I bought my vehicle, where we bought our vehicle. But anyway, now we're really entering into Sallisaw. I'm going to look around and see if I can get any data. If I can, I'll have to come back probably the 17th and do a quick run on the 17th during thunderstorms. So if they actually occur, the weather service is saying we'll see some thunderstorms on the 17th. If that happens, I'll have to come back and get some data then. I used to do some data retrieval for University of Missouri a long time ago for one of their students there, and I helped him as far as a capstone event that he was doing. And I was going out and collecting hail for him, and I actually collected some from here in Sallisaw during an event of that nature. That was back in 2010. So although that's a long story, I want to begin in. There's a lot of controversy on that. Going under the underpass, which is Interstate 40 in Sallisaw, Oklahoma. We'll be coming up on the light here. on the west side of Sallisaw now. I may or may not be able to find data. So I may have just found data. I gotta go over here and look real quick. I'm gonna have to step out of the vehicle for a minute. I want to go over there and see if there's data. You know what? I think I'm gonna do it on the other side, where all the Choctaw Nation is, because they gave me permission last time just to go over there and do it. So I think I'm just gonna do it at the Choctaw Nation Casino and try to get data on the other side and see if there is anything. Gotten the wrong lanes, what I think I've done. So we're gonna get this lane here. We'll go straight across. See if we can find some data in this. Well, there's no data there. Can't tell if there's any data. There's no data there. I'm gonna go up a little bit further and see what we've got. Nothing there. No data there. Oh, there's some data. But I'm questioning where that data is coming from. So I don't really want to grab data that's false. Very well could be false data. I'm thinking I might be out of luck on this one. We'll go down a little further and see what I can find. I really got lucky yesterday in Fort Smith. We had all that rainfall, so there's still some rain around yesterday. There's something right there. Pull in right here. And I'm gonna go get some data. All right, I have my data. This is about as far as I'm going to go today, as far as recording. We are in west part of Sallisaw, Oklahoma. I took my data recovery, and we'll add it in when I get to the house as far as information. This is Climate Scientist Wayne Adams. Have a great day.